Welcome to Nugget 186 with Steve Groman. And we're back to the same magazine, Scientific American, January 2021, but a different article in their genetics section, and it's called Getting Dirt. Ancient DNA preserved in soil may rewrite Ice Age knowledge. Everyone loves to learn about the Ice Age from what the Bible says about it and the after effects of the flood, and everyone loves those woolly mammoths. They're really cool, interesting animals. And what do you have to tell us about all of this today?
Yeah, my point here, this particular nugget, is just to mention here, like it says in this article, that these woolly mammoths dated thousands of years after their supposed extinction. So it's rewriting the Ice Age knowledge. Problem is, tie this in with the last two nuggets, folks. The information is what it is. People learn what they learn. If they've learned it as an error, but they've learned it as a fact, if it is an error, but they've learned it as a fact, then they know that fact as an error. They know that error as a fact. All too often, they find things all the time that rewrite their understanding of what they thought they knew. The issue is when it becomes an important thing, it's hard to get people to change their mind. It's hard to get people to understand that they've been duped because they've learned something and they believe it to be true. But this is so common.
I do want to interject here that one of the main things that we try to point out in these nuggets is that when they are rewriting or changing their mind, it's generally the time frame. And that's what we have been pointing out when we go to the national parks and take you on these nuggets or just a variety of different things. A lot of time, the specific details are accurate because it is what it is. The effect is the effect.
There was a woolly mammoth.
Right.
There was an Ice Age.
And the Bible tells us when that was,
right,
and why there were woolly mammoths and why we don't have woolly mammoths. And we haven't changed any part of how it happens from a creationist viewpoint. What they keep changing is the timing. And so that's why we say when you go places and you read these signs, a lot of time the effects may be true. It's the timing that they're always wanting to change because their timing is inaccurate.
Yeah, but that word is truth and it's forever settled in heaven. What it says, it says. And so therefore that's the truth of that issue. Here's another one, same publication, Dynamic Planet. For 15 years, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has transformed our view of the red planet. Once again, it's transformed their view. Well, what about all those people for the last X numbers of years that have learned something one way, but now they're saying that it's actually another way? What if, just what if, this way isn't true either?
In this article, they make a big deal of these impacts, and I know that we've done a nugget on the meteor impact over in Odessa, and we have shown you when they present these CGI, which is computer graphics images, it's just that. It's a computer graphics.
Right, this is not
image.
a photo, but people believe it to be a photo.
Right, because we've talked about how the telescopes, they're not sending back pictures, they're sending back data that has been translated through computer programs to create an image. Anyway,
yes.
The point is that we have talked about how, look at these craters that they're showing.
Yeah, if they're impact craters, like they say, then every single impact was at a 90-degree angle from that point, from wherever they are. No matter what, on a round thing, they say this is a round planet out there, but every single one of these impacts are directly perpendicular, which would be impossible. There should be all kinds of skids and long gouges and all kinds of things like that, but they're not.
It looks more like if you'd probably do an aerial view of Yellowstone, where all the pools are round.
Yeah.
Because they're bubbling pots.
Because they're pools.
And Yellowstone is a fabulous place. Now, if you haven't been, be sure you go.
This one is rather interesting. I'm not going to read a lot of this, but I do want to say in this Discover June 2021, where they're talking about how to spot pseudoscience. First off, if it's pseudoscience, if the theories don't advance or evolve over time. Well, if God says his word's forever settled in heaven, it doesn't need to evolve over time. Pseudoscientific theories do not present any testable evidence. You can't prove or disprove the theories. Well, yes, in this case, that's not true either, because they say that creation is not science at all, because it's not science at all, because it talks about the Bible. But God says everything reproduces after its own kind. We have tests and experiments, testable evidence to show that.
The premise here is that their consensus is that creationism, as they would call it, which we know we do not say the word creationism, but that creationism is pseudoscience. Is that the premise of this part?
Well, this particular part, this is not talking creation, but it's talking about just pseudoscience. Things that fall outside of what they understand to be, because what they understand to be is what they consider science. And so anything outside of that, like it says right here, science by contrast relies on the verification of evidence to prove or disprove ideas. Okay, well, wait a minute. Where's the evidence for any of that science that has now been changed, that everybody learned to be as a fact? Pseudoscientific theories and their supporters are unwilling to accept contrary evidence. Think of the so-called anti-V movement, even though it's been repeatedly proven that these things aren't the problem, which Yeah, yes and no, think what you want. But anyway, look at the next one. Finally, pseudoscience is often based on belief alone. Well, it's a belief alone that billions of years ago, this little dot blew up and everything formed. All of their whole thing starts from a belief-only system. And they can believe all they want that billions of years ago this earth formed, and they can believe all they want. But they call that science. That's what's so mind-blowing about this.
Well, everyone has a bias.
Right, and then of course they have to throw
It's impossible not to have a bias.
Well, it is. It is impossible not to have it. But they always throw this in too. They make some ridiculous type of statement. No matter how many times scientists debunk purported evidence of Bigfoot, enthusiasts still believe the creature exists.
We saw Bigfoot the other day on our hike with Joel, driving to that lead mine.
We sure did.
Bigfoot was standing right there on the side of the road.
Jesus Christ, the same yesterday, today, and forever. Forever, O Lord, thy word is settled in heaven. Thy word is truth. There are all kinds of verses that say, no, what we have stands the test of time, so we don't have to change it over time. But pseudoscience, by definition, we've shown this before, is a system of theories, assumptions, and methods erroneously regarded as science. These textbooks, they all show how science is done, the scientific method. You have to have ideas that form hypotheses, and then you do experiments that prove or disprove them, and then you cast out the ones you can't show to be true, and you have the remaining ones, and you keep going on and on. You repeat these experiments over and over. That's what science is. Well, most of what is called science in these publications these days and in our textbooks have nothing to do with science.
Well, it's actually been for decades.
Well, it has been for decades. It's been a long time.
I think when Madalyn Murray O'Hair stepped in and started challenging the public school system with prayer, and when evolution began to get a significant hold on the textbooks in the 60s and the 70s, we're working on the third generation now of the effects of the 60s.
Yes.
And again, it was one woman that has affected now 3 generations and decades and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and millions of people.
Yes.
We need some women to stand up and men to stand up and make a difference. You can make a difference.
Yes, you can. You can make a difference.
Okay, well, we're going to stop here. This is a good place to stop and pick up in the next nugget. If you appreciate these nuggets, please repost on your social platforms. Help us spread the word and the truth of God's creation. If you appreciate these nuggets, and if you are able to partner with us on a monthly or a one-time basis, we certainly appreciate that. The links are in the description below. Also, please tell others about our YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to be alerted when we post new nuggets and Saturday history and travel tips. Thank you.